folks. If you've experienced similar situations or know someone around you who has, write them in the comments. Subscribe to the channel and share to support us for more of these stories. Have you ever wondered where the souls of soldiers who died in war go? Nurse Sarah, working at Landstuhl Regional Medical Center, learned the answer to this question in the most horrifying way. Located in the small town of Landstuhl, Germany, Landstuhl Regional Medical Center is the largest military medical center of the United States in Europe. Established in 1953, this hospital is the first stop for wounded soldiers coming from the Middle East and Afghanistan. While thousands of soldiers have tried to hold on to life here, thousands more have taken their last breath within these walls. Sarah Mitchell, 32 years old, was an experienced military nurse from Michigan. She was assigned to Landstuhl in September 2017 and began working in the critical care unit. Sarah had 10 years of nursing experience, having previously served at Walter Reed Medical Center and Brooke Army Medical Center. She was accustomed to working with war casualties, or so she thought. Her first months at Landstuhl were relatively calm compared to normal. She worked in the critical care unit, usually taking night shifts. She preferred this shift because patients were calmer during night hours and the workload was lighter. But soon she would regret this preference. The hospital's architecture was quite old. The 5-story main building was constructed in the 1950s, and the narrow corridors, low ceilings, and old fluorescent lights always created a gloomy atmosphere inside the building. The top floor, the 5th floor, had been closed since 2010. The official explanation was budget cuts, but strange stories about that floor circulated among the staff. Sarah's first paranormal experience occurred in the second week of October. While working the night shift around 2:30, she was walking in the corridor. She was using the stairs to go down from the critical care unit on the 3rd floor to the pharmacy on the 2nd floor. While descending the stairs, she heard footsteps from the upper floor. At first, she thought it was another staff member, but the footsteps were very strange. It sounded like someone wearing very heavy boots was walking. They made dull, metallic sounds. Sarah stopped and listened. The sounds stopped. She continued walking, and the sounds continued too. "Hello? Anyone there?" she called out. She got no response. When she returned from the pharmacy, she told her colleague Jennifer, who was working at the nurse's station, about the situation. "Oh, so you heard him too?" Jennifer said with a smile. "That's our phantom soldier. Most of us have heard him. Don't worry, he doesn't harm anyone." Sarah was surprised. "Phantom soldier? What do you mean?" Jennifer looked around and lowered her voice. "Many soldiers have died in this hospital, Sarah. Some of them don't seem to want to leave. Especially during night shifts, strange things happen. Footsteps, door slamming, sometimes even sounds resembling gunshots. Do you really believe in these things?" "I was skeptical like you, until I saw what happened last month." Jennifer told Sarah about the events from last month. Mike, the security guard working the night shift, had detected movement on the 5th floor on security cameras. When he went up to check the floor, he couldn't find anyone, but in one of the old patient rooms, bed sheets were scattered and there were blood stains on the pillow. Cleaning staff hadn't been to that room for months. The blood stains were fresh. Sarah considered these stories as folklore. Such legends were common in hospitals. But the following weeks would completely change her perspective. At the beginning of November, Sarah had a patient under her care. Sergeant Daniel Rodriguez, 25 years old, from Texas. He had been severely injured in an IED explosion, lost his left leg, and was experiencing multiple organ failure. His condition was critical. Daniel was a very talkative patient. He constantly talked about his family, his wife, his little daughter. Sarah was impressed by his healing energy. "I'm going to get out of here and go see my daughter," he would always say. On the night of November 17th, Daniel's condition worsened. Sarah stayed by his side all night. His vital signs had begun to drop. At 5:30 in the morning, Daniel took his last breath. Sarah was holding his hand at that moment. Tell my daughter that Daddy loves her." Those were his last words. Sarah was deeply affected. She was used to patients dying, but Daniel was special. After taking him to the morgue, she cried for a long time. The next night, Sarah was on night shift again. Around 1 a.m., while walking in the corridor, she heard a very familiar voice. "Sarah, Sarah, ... She turned around. A figure was standing at the end of the corridor. It was dark, but the silhouette was familiar. It was Daniel. Sarah's heart began beating wildly. "Daniel," she whispered. The figure began walking toward her. In the night light, she could now see his face. It was Daniel, but his eyes were completely black. He had a strange smile on his face. "Sarah, why are you crying? I'm fine." Sarah began stepping backward. You were dead. I took you to the morgue this morning." "I didn't die, Sarah. I'm here. I'll always be here." Sarah panicked and began running. When she reached the nurse's station, Jennifer and 2 other people were working there. "Sarah, what happened? You're out of breath." "Daniel, I saw Daniel in the corridor." Jennifer looked with concern. "Sarah, Daniel died yesterday. He's in the morgue." "I know, but I saw him. He talked to me." Security was called. They checked the corridors but found no one. Sarah was told to rest. But this was just the beginning. In the following nights, Sarah began seeing more dead patients. They all appeared the same way. Normal body, but completely black eyes. First, she saw Sergeant Michael Park. He had died of a heart attack 2 weeks ago. She found him sitting in the 4th floor corridor. "Sarah," he said, "can you call my wife? Tell her I'm getting better. I'm coming home." Then she saw Private Jennifer Walsh. She had committed suicide last month. She found her in the women's restroom, looking in the mirror. "Are you new here?" she asked Sarah. "I've been here for a very long time." Every night, more dead patients tried to communicate with Sarah, and they all said the same thing. "We're not leaving here." Sarah reported the situation to her supervisors, but no one believed her. She was diagnosed with stress-induced hallucinations. She was referred to a psychologist. Dr. Amanda Cole was the hospital's psychiatrist. She evaluated Sarah's condition. "Sarah, these kinds of experiences are common in war hospitals. Constantly witnessing traumatic deaths triggers the brain's defense mechanisms. It's normal for you to see hallucinations. But they're so realistic, doctor. I can talk to them. They can see me." That's the characteristic of these hallucinations. They can be incredibly realistic. Sarah started anti-anxiety medication. For a week, she didn't see anything. She thought maybe the doctor was right. But on the night of December 1st, everything changed. While Sarah was working the night shift, the hospital experienced a power outage. The emergency generator kicked in but only operated basic systems. The corridors were dark. Sarah was checking patient rooms with a flashlight. When she entered the last room on the 3rd floor, she was shocked. The room was full. At least 20 people were standing there. They were all dead patients. Daniel was standing in front. "Sarah," he said, "it's time for you to stay with us now." The others began talking too. "This hospital is our home. We're not leaving here. You'll stay too? Don't abandon us." Sarah began screaming, but no sound came out. It was as if her throat was constricted. The dead patients began walking toward her. They were extending their hands. At that moment, the electricity came back on. There was no one in the room. Sarah was found unconscious on the floor. The next morning, Sarah met with hospital administration. She said she wanted to resign. "Sarah, you're one of our best nurses. You're under stress. Take some time off." "No, I need to leave here. This hospital is cursed." The administration thought Sarah was having a psychological breakdown. Medical leave was granted. Sarah left Germany and returned to America. But the story doesn't end here. 2 months later, nurse Lisa Chin, who replaced Sarah, began experiencing very similar encounters. She, too, was seeing dead patients during night shifts. Later, security guard Tom Bradley's report emerged. He had detected strange things in security footage. Invisible figures were moving in the corridors. Cameras detected movement, but no one was visible in the footage. The most shocking discovery was made on the 5th floor. Maintenance workers who went up to this closed floor found fresh blood traces in one of the old patient rooms. When DNA tests were conducted, the blood samples belonged to different patients who had died years ago. Hospital administration tried to keep the situation secret, but panic began among the staff. No personnel wanted to work night shifts anymore. In 2019, the hospital underwent extensive renovation. While the official explanation was modernization, the real purpose was different. The building's 5th floor was completely demolished and rebuilt. The old patient rooms were completely changed. But even after the renovation, strange events continued. Staff still heard sounds and saw figures during night shifts. Dr. Margaret Foster was the hospital's former chief of staff and retired in 2020. In an interview she gave after retirement, she said, "Thousands of soldiers died at Landstuhl over 70 years. These people died in the middle of war, suffering, far from their families. Some of them couldn't find peace." Sarah now works at a civilian hospital in Michigan, but the Landstuhl experience never left her. She avoids night shifts, and sometimes, on very quiet nights, she claims to hear Daniel's voice. "Sarah, where are you? I'm waiting for you." Landstuhl Regional Medical Center still actively provides service. There's no paranormal activity in official records, but the personnel working there, especially during night shifts, experience very different things. And the souls of thousands of soldiers who died in the hospital are still there, wandering the corridors, waiting.